We're back. But in all seriousness, a more proper welcome back. I appreciate everybody who checked in on me, who wished me luck. I moved halfway across the country, so I promise it's been about a month, but there's a good reason. I'm still not fully settled into my new place in this great state of Texas, as you can see by this just large amount of jerseys behind me that I've still not put up. I'm basically moved in at this point. So it's time to start making videos again, and let's just go ahead and get right into it. As you can see by the title, these are five clubs who could be the club to finally end Rangers and Celtic dominance in Scotland. And I'm not talking about just temporarily for like one season or a lightning in a bottle type of thing. I'm talking could permanently be up there with the two big guys. Permanently be one of the big boys and maybe make it a big three instead of a big two. So that said, that's what this video is about. I appreciate all the communication and comments below. Please let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. And if I don't say who you think it could be, please let me know. And let's go ahead and get a conversation going. I appreciate all the feedback. Let's go ahead and get into today's video, starting with number 5. And I would also like to add, before I get into the 5th club, these are in no particular order. Number 1 carries no more weight than number 5. These are just the order in which I typed them in. But that said, at number 5, I've got Hearts of Midlothian. I may get a little hate for this, but I do believe that they are the 3rd biggest club in Scotland. So if I believe it, it makes sense to start here, right? Champions of Scotland, and no, I'm not about to break into like a chant, but champions of Scotland 4 times, but none since 1960. Scottish Cup winners 8 times, the last being in 2012, a little bit more recent. And Scottish Cup winner, League Cup winners 4 times, but the last being all the way back in 1963. And the majority of these are back before my mom was even born. They've finished top 3 more times than any club in Scotland, not named Celtic or Rangers. We won't bring up that really weird COVID relegation year, so don't worry, Hearts fans, this is a safe place. We're not going to mention that at all. So, why the Hearts? Why can they do it? Well, since 2014, it's been very up and down. I think since Anne, and I may be saying her last name wrong, Booge, since she took over the club. She's up there in age, and not to sound too morbid, okay? But when her time comes and her days on this earth are over, I think that could be a very pivotal moment in what happens to the Hearts and what direction they go. Just don't pick up the phone if Todd Bowley calls, okay? Just don't pick it up. Now that said, it's a very attractive club. They are in a beautiful city. They have a really cool name, I think, or at least what it's named after. And the stadium's beautiful. I mean, what is there not to like if someone comes calling and when that day comes? So I do think that's going to happen. And I do think someone is going to be like, hey, I might be interested in buying this club. And what happens after that? Well, honestly, I think it's going to be very good things. Coming in next at number 4, I've got Hibernian. And that is the Hearts' next door neighbors, literally. So everything I said about the city of Edinburgh, just pretty much copy and paste. And yeah, you can go ahead and make fun of my accent with how I say the name of the city. But that's pretty much where the only similarity is between these two clubs. And if you don't really know, think Rangers and Celtic, just the Edinburgh version. Politically, socioeconomically, just pretty much everything ties-wise, they're just completely opposite. Historically, apart from, I guess, Celtic and Rangers, they're part of the next big 3. They've won the Scottish Cup, Scottish League 4 times, last being in 1952, so a little further back than the Hearts. They've won the Scottish Cup and the League's Cup 3 times each. So why the Hibs? And I'm not just saying this because they're kind of American friendly, but why the Hibs? Why can they be one of the clubs to finally dig in there and claw their way up to unseating Celtic and Rangers? Well, it's a little complicated, if not confusing. They had this whole 51% ownership sale to supporters, which then kind of just went away. They had an owner that passed away, which led to a deal that ratified 60% to their family and 25% to Black Knight, which is the majority shareholder in Bournemouth. And to be honest with you, I am not one to explain this whole thing to you. I would just recommend reading if you want to know more about the ownership group and how it works. Point being, I sense American interest here. And should the right Americans get their hands on the club, and just like the Hearts, do not answer your phone for Todd Bowley, it could turn into basically the opposite of Chelsea. And I promise I mean that in a good way. Will it happen? I actually feel like this is more complicated than Hearts for this to happen. But, and by the way, I should absolutely say in this video that Hearts and Hibernian are essentially 2 of the worst teams this year in Scotland. I do not think that's going to keep going, and I do think they're going to eventually, both teams are going to claw their way up the table. But that goes without saying that relegation would absolutely, and I mean absolutely, affect me putting 1 or 2 on here. And yeah, so now that the 2 Edinburgh teams are out of the way, let me know what you think of these clubs. I feel like they're already, like I said earlier, they're already part of the next big 3, and they have not been able to really get over that hump, at least since the 60s. So let me know what you think the odds of these 2 teams are for building powerhouses. And by the way, good luck to the Hearts in Europe. Coming in at number 3 on my list, and I'm not going to pretend to be the biggest fan of Scottish football, but I will say this. The team that comes in at number 3 on my list is the team that I have grown to support. That is where my love lies in Scotland and Scottish footy, and that is, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which way you look at it, Inverness, Caledonian, Thistle. Now, located right next to the Loch Ness Monster, they are probably the most complicated team on my list. So just bear with me and I will try my best to explain why I think this mess could end up being one of the powerhouses in Scotland. And as recently as 2023, they were runners-up in the Scottish Cup. Okay, that was only 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago. And in 2015, they won the damn cup. In 2014, they were runners-up and finished 3rd in the Scottish Premiership. I'm not talking about a cup. I'm not talking about some lower-level tournament. I'm talking about the Scottish Premiership. They finished 3rd 10 years ago. With all this success, you may think, wow, Jeremy, they must be a decent club. They must be pretty good. They must still have a decent team. Oh, my friend, you could not be any more wrong. But this is also why I see hope. Inverness currently play in the Scottish League One after relegation from the Championship last year. And the Championship is the 2nd league in the pyramid. Yes, the 2023 Scottish Cup runners-up play in the 3rd division. Okay? The 3rd division. And pending a miracle, will play next season in the 4th division in Scotland. And to be honest, that is the best news of this entire video for them. As of the recording of this video, they just went into administration and released tons of players, and probably the most the name that carries the most weight, which is their manager, Duncan Ferguson, who is also out, who's actually been very good at the club. But this was after a really, really weird attempt from a very sketchy person to buy the club. And if you want to know more about this guy, trust me, I recommend looking it up. This guy was either a money launderer or a scammer, or just, I don't know, had some kind of grand scheme to file bankruptcy with the club. I don't know what the deal was with that. But again, just like with the Hibs, I'm not one to go down that road. But I definitely recommend looking up the attempted purchase several times of this man. I can't think of his name off the top of my head because he hides behind some business marketing thing. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'll try to link it in the description. So, why the heck are they on this list? So look, honestly, other than Ross County, who fights for relegation every single year, this is the only club of note in the Highlands. No offense to some of the great round clubs up north. I'm speaking in terms of name power and success, okay? I want to just make sure I say that. I actually think their stadium is pretty amazing. It's quite an attractive place, I think, from a marketing standpoint. Just imagine a company or a person with regional ties buys this club and rebuilds it from the ground up the correct way. Or a European snob or an American with deep pockets comes in and markets this team correctly. Or, I mean, hell, Red Bull comes in and we see RB Nessie rise up the ranks, right? Point being, this club has great supporters, a very marketable location, an old stadium that you don't see every day with old school vibes and a really unique view. And I will try my best to put a view of this stadium on the screen right now. But honestly, what's not to love about this place? And like I said, yes, I'm partial. What's happening here at this club is very sad, but I firmly believe something is going to happen to turn this club's fortunes around, and the best days are ahead of them. And it may not be next year, but I firmly believe in the next decade, the sky is the limit for this club, and the best days are just right around the corner. At number 4, I've got Dumbarton FC. And yeah, we're going there too. So just buckle in and let me explain. In the 19th century, yeah, we're really going to the 19th century. They were basically Real Madrid. During the first 2 years of the Scottish Premier League, existence, they shared the title with Rangers, and they outright won the league. Between the first, second, and third division, okay, they've won the respective league 4 times, a runner-up 5 times, and a playoff winner 2 times. Okay, and that's counting all the leagues, the first division, second, and third. So they also won the 1906 Combination League, and we all know how much glory that is. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what the Combination League is, but considering it was in 1906, that's probably why I don't know what it is. But in terms of cups, they have about 50, probably over 50 to their name. And I'll put that on the screen if I can. If not, I guess we're just kind of awkwardly looking at each other because I'm kind of stalling right now, hoping that I've got these on the screen right now just to show you how many cups that they've won. See all those cups? Do they carry a lot of weight? I mean, of course not. But still, that's history, right? That's history that most clubs in the entire world, not just Europe, not Scotland, just the entire world can say that they don't have. So Jeremy, that's cool that they won 100 years ago and a bunch of cups that I don't know. So why are they here? Well, that's a good question. So they just got promoted to the Scottish League One, okay? And yeah, they're in 9th place out of 10 teams, and you'll never guess who's in 10th. The team we just mentioned. But this league is so close, though, from 1st to 9th. As of the recording of this video, let me make sure I say that. They're just 5 points from 1st place. So that is 2 wins from having the most points in the league. So, now, I hate to say this because I have mixed feelings on what Welcome to Wrexham has done. But the tools and history are there for this to be the Scottish version. Not to say the supporters want this, but money talks, and unfortunately, if that happens to come up, a Ryan Reynolds or a Rob, whatever his last name is, come in, they're not really going to have much of a choice, right? This team is on the upswing. It's in a lovely, lovely town near Glasgow with history. A team that can say they have won it all. Man, what a story this would be if someone came in and said, you know what, I want to make a documentary too. But this time with a team that's actually won. All it takes is one person for this to happen. And if so, I think this team will have the resources, the history, and the ability to compete with Celtic and Rangers. Now, is this one a long shot? I think this is the longest shot on my list, if I'm being fair game, right? But I didn't want to put 5 clubs that are already in the Scottish Premier League on this list, right? I'm reaching into the bag, yes, but I'm also making a valid point on why I think this. So, far-fetched, yes. Unlikely, also yes. But you can't tell me that would not be a damn good story. The last club that we are going to mention in this video, and as creative as I would love to be on this last pick, I'm kind of forced to because of the squad that's already on the fringe of doing it this year. And that, of course, is Aberdeen. The Reds have been one of the hottest teams in not just Scotland, but all of Europe thus far. They're a coming of I don't even know how to describe it, right? They are just, I mean, at one point, I believe they were the only club in Europe that hadn't lost. I don't know if that's still the case or if they're one of them. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But they're the coming-of-age club for a pre-Man U Sir Alex Ferguson. They're also the last club in Scotland to actually win the title, not named Celtic or Rangers. And the last, I believe the last Scottish club to actually win something in Europe, win a European trophy. Again, fact-check me on that one, please. Unlike a lot of clubs in this list, I don't think new owners or a big, huge ownership turnaround is what they need. I think they just need a little bit of luck, hard work, and a taste of European competition money. And I think that money could kickstart a modern-day giant killer. And I think that they could potentially claw themselves right up into discussion into making this a big 3 instead of a big 2. I don't have much to say about Aberdeen because it's already written in the stars what's happening. I don't want to reiterate a lot of things that a lot of people have said also in videos. But I do think this club right now is the one to watch because they're currently, I believe they tied with Celtic 2-2. They haven't played the Rangers yet, or sorry, I better not say the Rangers. They haven't played Rangers yet as of the recording of this video, but it is tomorrow. Again, as of the recording, it is tomorrow, so I'd be interested to see how stupid I look after putting them on 5th. But point being, they've looked really good so far. And I think I would be crazy to not have them at number 5. Although I would really, they kind of forced their way onto my list is what I'm trying to say. Before I wish you goodbye, I wanted to say thank you again for everybody who told me good luck on the move, who followed me on Instagram. And if you don't follow me, please do. Please like and subscribe. It is absolutely free. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like the things I post. If you can please give me a like, it'd be awesome. It helps the video more than you might think. That said, till next time, peace.